So for today's project, I'm going to be changing out the differential fluid on my wife's 2005 Jeep Grand Cherokee. So to get to the differential cover, I went ahead and jacked up the rear end, and then I put jack stands underneath, right below where the control arms mount, and then lowered the axle down so I have plenty of space to get to the diff cover. So I think for this, most of them I think I'll be able to get up with the impact, except for that very top one. I had to use a shallow socket to get that one off. So the plan is here, I'm going to take all these bolts out, but leave the top one loose, and then pry this open to let all the diff fluid drain out. Yuck. Shouldn't be that color. And I'll just let this drain for about 10 minutes or so. So first I'm going to clean the diff cover with some brake clean and some rags. So I found a good way to get this gasket off, the old gasket, is to use some brake clean and a plastic scraper so I don't damage it. The brake clean will help soften it up, make it a little easier to get off. Now it's time to clean this out, and I'm going to use brake clean again and the same plastic scraper to scrape off the gasket around this edge. This one's coming off a lot easier. Now we're just going to spray all around in there to clean it up a little bit. So once this has sat for a little bit, after you clean with the brake clean, get your air nozzle and clean all this out with the air. It'll get out all of the little chunks of gasket, and if you still see more, I still see a little bit of stuff sitting down there. So I'm just going to take my rag and just soak it up. You want it as clean as possible. See a little bit more. It's just a little bit old diff fluid, but I want all of it out, or most of it. So now you'll get your gasket maker. I'm using Gear Oil Gasket Maker. It's the gray stuff, Permatex. Take that, put about a 1/4 inch bead all the way around, smear it with your fingers, and then do the same for the diff cover. You don't need to go crazy with this stuff. You don't need too much. Some people, they do so much that it squirts or it leaks into here once you put it on, and you can tell it will do that because it'll leak out here too. So you don't really need that much. I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything, but it's not necessary. So now we put the two together. I'm going to start with the top bolt because it's easiest to get to. Here's a tip. Move this out of the way so you don't drop any bolts in there. So what you want to do here now is tighten these all by hand and then let it sit for about an hour to let the gasket maker sit or set up, and then you'll come back and then you'll tighten it with your ratchet, and then you can refill it. Now we wait. So after letting it set for about an hour, I'm going to go ahead and tighten the bolts with the ratchet and fill it up. This one's the little one. Alright, time to fill it up. I went ahead and got the Mopar 75W140, which is the recommended fluid for this Jeep. It takes about 2 quarts, but basically you just fill it up until it starts coming out, and then you know it's full. I already put 1 quart in already, so I'm getting ready to put the 2nd quart. One thing to remember, keep your drain plug handy so that you can pop it in right when it starts pouring out. Alright, here we go. Also keep your drain pan down below so you don't make a huge mess on your floor. So you can see it's sitting right below the bottom of the hole, so that's pretty much full. So I'm going to go ahead and cap it off and call it a day.